someone is in your mind right now. Not vaguely. Not as a passing memory. As a presence, specific, uninvited, and returning. Not because you are lonely. Not because you are weak. Not because you have not moved on enough or healed enough or tried hard enough. This has already been happening. You just did not have the words for it yet. And something in your life is quietly shifting because of it. You may not be able to name it, but you have felt it. Welcome. If this is your first time here, this channel exists for one reason: to give language to the experiences you already know are real but cannot explain out loud without feeling like you sound strange. Stay with me through all 7 signs, because sign number 6 is the one most people cannot rationalize away no matter how hard they try. And sign number 7 does not just change how you see this experience. It changes how you see yourself. If that sounds like something you need right now, you already know what to do. Sign number 1. They appear during the quiet moments. Not when you are focused. Not when you are busy. During the spaces in between. You are washing dishes. Driving a route you have driven 100 times. Staring at a spreadsheet without really seeing it. And then, without choosing it, without inviting it, their face is just there. Most people assume this means something is wrong with them. That they are fixating. That they should be further along by now. Here is what it actually means. Researchers studying intrusive thought patterns have found that the mind does not surface unresolved material when you are occupied. It surfaces it the moment your attention drops its guard. The quiet moment is not when you are weakest. It is when your mind finally has the bandwidth to show you what it has been carrying. The thought is not an intrusion. It is a delivery. It is not obsession. It is unfinished recognition. Sign number 2. You tried to stop. And the moment you decided to stop thinking about them, they became impossible to avoid. You made a decision, conscious, deliberate, firm. You told yourself it was done. You were moving forward. And within hours, you were thinking about them more than you had in weeks. Most people assume they are simply not strong enough to control their own mind. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. Daniel Wegner, a psychologist at Harvard, spent years studying exactly this. He called it ironic process theory. His finding was precise and uncomfortable. The act of trying to suppress a thought requires your brain to constantly monitor for that thought, which means it is actively, continuously looking for the very thing you told it to stop finding. You did not fail to stop thinking about them. You triggered the exact mechanism that guaranteed they would stay. It is not weakness. It is wiring. And that is not even the part that changes things. Sign number 3. You start seeing them everywhere. Not them, but everything that belongs to them. Their car. Not just the make, the exact color, parked on a street you take every day and never noticed before. The song they played on repeat suddenly appears in a coffee shop, in a grocery store, in the background of a video you did not go looking for. A name, a place, a phrase they used to say. Most people call this coincidence. Or they remember what they learned once about confirmation bias and decide it means nothing. Here is what Arnold Zwicky, the linguist who formally documented this phenomenon, actually found. Once something enters your awareness with emotional weight, your brain's selective attention system flags every future instance of it. The frequency has not changed. Your perception of it has. Your mind is not manufacturing signs. It is finally allowing you to see what was always there. The question is not whether the reminders are real. The question is why your brain decided that person was worth flagging. It is not random. It is attention. But what comes next is the pattern most people never identify. Because this one does not happen around you. It happens inside you, before you have time to think. Sign number 4. The thought arrives before you choose it. You are not remembering them. You are not deciding to think about them. The thought is simply already present by the time you notice it, like walking into a room and realizing someone else arrived first. Most people assume thoughts are things they generate, that they are in control of what enters their mind, and if something unwanted enters, that is a failure. But research into intrusive thought formation, including work published through Concordia University's collaborative studies on attachment distress, found that recurring thoughts about unresolved people are not chosen. They are produced by a separate layer of processing. Your conscious mind is not the author of these thoughts. It is the audience. The thought chose the moment, not you. This is the part most people miss. What arrives uninvited is almost always more honest than what you construct deliberately. Your mind is not malfunctioning. It is trying to show you something you have not been willing to look at directly. Sign number 5. Your body reacts before your mind catches up. You do not decide to feel it. It arrives first. A flutter in the solar plexus, that hollow space right below the center of your ribs. A faint instability, like the ground shifted 1 centimeter and only you felt it. And then a thought of them arrives more suddenly, more vivid than usual, and the sensation moves, tightening upward into your chest, a localized pressure that is not quite pain but is not nothing. Most people assume this is anxiety, that it means they have not healed, that the body is confirming what the mind already fears. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The body does not store emotion the way the mind stores memory. It stores it as sensation, as unresolved physical signal waiting for permission to complete. When that signal activates around the thought of one specific person, it is not proof that you love them. It is not proof that you are stuck. It is proof that something associated with that person is still unfinished inside you. The feeling is not about them. It is about what you have not yet given yourself permission to resolve. It is not longing. It is location. Your body is pointing at something. Sign number 6. You begin to understand, without wanting to, that they are not entirely themselves in your mind. They are carrying something. This is the sign most people cannot explain away. Because you can dismiss frequency illusion. You can accept ironic process theory. You can call the physical sensations anxiety and move on. But this one is harder. Because at some point, if you are honest, you notice that the version of this person in your mind is not quite them. It is a version assembled from a specific moment. A specific feeling. A specific version of yourself that existed then. Someone who wanted something, or feared something, or left something unresolved. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called synchronicity, the appearance of meaningful coincidences between inner experience and outer events. Not as supernatural certainty. As a signal that the psyche is attempting to communicate what the conscious mind has not yet processed. The person you keep seeing in your mind is not always the destination. They are the messenger. They arrived, or returned, in your thoughts because they are carrying a question your subconscious has been trying to ask you. About a boundary you did not hold. About a version of yourself you abandoned in that season. About something you wanted then that you have been pretending you no longer want now. You are not thinking about them because the universe is sending them to you. You are thinking about them because your own mind selected the one image most likely to make you stop and pay attention. And that is not even the hardest part to sit with. But what comes next is the sign most people find hardest to explain away. Because this one does not just happen around you. This one happens through you. Sign number 7. They appear during a major transition. Every time. Without exception. Not randomly. Not spread evenly across your life. During the exact seasons when everything is reorganizing. A career ending. A city left behind. A relationship dissolving slowly without a clear last day. During burnout. During the months when you are technically fine but quietly disappearing from yourself. Most people assume the timing is meaningless, that the mind simply has more idle space during transitions and so old material resurfaces to fill it. Here is where everything changes. Breakup distress research, including work on what psychologists call ambiguous loss, has found that the mind returns most intensely to unresolved attachments not when it is empty, but when it is reorganizing its understanding of who you are. Transitions do not create space for old thoughts. They demand that the mind rebuild its identity map. And in doing that work, the mind reaches for every unresolved file it has not yet closed. The person appearing in your mind during your hardest season is not appearing because they are thinking about you. They are appearing because your mind is doing serious work, and it needs every unfinished piece of you present for that work. Epictetus wrote, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." The thought is not the disturbance. Your interpretation of the thought is. And Marcus Aurelius returned to this again and again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. The recurring thought is not outside your power. What you choose to do with it, wait or learn, that is entirely yours. The transition is not punishment. It is construction. And the face that keeps appearing is not a haunting. It is a tool your mind reached for when it needed to build something new. I want to speak to one person right now. You have been carrying something about someone for longer than feels reasonable. Maybe it was a relationship that ended without a real ending. No fight, no door slam, just a slow fade into silence until they were simply gone. Maybe it was a friendship that dissolved in a way that was never explained. Maybe it was someone you lost not to death but to a choice. Theirs or yours, or the quiet accumulation of both. Maybe it was recent. Maybe it was years ago. But you know the moment I am talking about. The moment you realized they were not coming back. Not in the way you needed. And you told yourself you were fine. And you mostly were. Except for the mornings. Except for the quiet. Except for every time a song came on that you had not heard in 3 years and suddenly you were back in that exact room, in that exact light, wondering what you could have said differently. I'm not going to tell you that was nothing. The thought kept returning because something real lived inside that relationship. A version of you that had needs, that trusted someone, that opened a door and then had to watch it close from the inside. That version of you is not pathetic for returning. It is persistent because it is carrying something you have not yet taken back. You were right to pay attention. You were not wrong to feel it. Here is what I want to leave you with. Not a summary, but a reframe. The person in your mind is not proof that you are stuck. They are not proof that you are destined. They are not proof of anything outside yourself. They are proof that your mind is alive enough, honest enough, and brave enough to keep returning to what it has not finished. That is not weakness. That is the most human thing there is. The question was never why they keep appearing. The question is what they are carrying for you. And what you are finally ready to take back. Tell me in the comments. What was happening in your life when the thought started? What was the sign that hit you hardest? I read every one. Before you scroll, think about the one pattern you have been pretending not to see. Not the obvious one. The real one. Drop just one word in the comments.